Hi YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So in this video I want to do a little bit of a discussion about the Thomas motorized range, and I do have one of the brand new for 2025 Greatest Moments Thomas here. I have been playing around with the Percy 6-in-1 pack, with the barrel loader pack, and also the the Talking Cranky pack, which I've all recently reviewed on my channel. And I made some really interesting observations which I think color my view of this train system, particularly now that perhaps Thomas Wooden Railway is dead. So let's talk about them in this video. What are we waiting for? Let's do it. Apologies everyone for this video being a little bit delayed. I had one to get done a couple months ago, but then things happened, new products launched, and we all got lost. So what you can see here is the relatively recently reviewed sets that I have collected from the Trackmaster 3 AEG and also from Trackmaster 4. So that is the 80th anniversary barrel launcher set, which if you go and look at my review, I was not very impressed with. This is the Talking Cranky set. It's an AEG set. This is a set that I was very impressed with, actually, particularly when I got it for pretty much half price. And then this is the latest version of the Percy 6-in-1 builder set. I have put it in a different configuration again just to try it out. And what I want to do is I'm going to do a running session because I haven't done that since I got all the other engines from the motorized line. But I did want to have a quick talk about some things I've discovered while I've been preparing these reviews for you all and really trying to get an understanding of the Trackmaster system, because I was on Trackmaster Kid. If you've been following my content for a really long time, you'll know I did a review back on my old channel, I think, of my very small Tomy collection. It was very small. My parents didn't think that the Tomy engines were good quality, so they instead preferred to buy me Thomas Wooden Railway. And I did have one friend in particular in high school who had a fantastic setup of the Trackmaster 1 track as well as the Tomy track. So I had a little bit of experience with it, but I never really got into Trackmaster 2. Did some very early reviews on some of it just to kind of see what was going on, but it's never really been my thing. So doing these reviews was my first real taste of Trackmaster, aside from using or I guess having the track in relation to the push-long engines, which I've reviewed over the last couple of years of All Engines Go. And I want to make some quick observations about the track, then we'll talk about some of the issues I've encountered, and then we get to the running session. So the first thing I want to say, and I don't know if other people have found this, but I think the Trackmaster track is terrible. I think it is very hard to put together, it's like hard to take apart, but not when you want it to be, and also it tends to break a lot. Like a lot of these pieces, when you pull them apart, like they've already got stress marks on them, like after one or two uses. So, and I've got my fingers caught in them, and yeah, I don't think it's a particularly good track system. I understand they did it to make it so that the sets could stay together better, but I don't actually think they stay together that well anyway. And that brings me to what I think is a problem that you've probably observed through all of these videos, is the insistent on weird track pieces. So I know a lot of people didn't like the multicolored track that is in this set. I personally didn't care that much, but you can see multicolored track is a common feature across all these sets, and there's not really a clear explanation for it. It's just, it is what it is. But what is more common, as you can see, is these crazy hills. And I mean, these sets are some of the most normal sets we've had. I know when Trackmaster 2 first came out, we had like that crazy catapult set and that kind of stuff. So these are more train sets, and one of the reasons why I like this cranky set so much is because it was pretty much just a loop with some interesting little bits. But even this Percy set has a lot of hills, and as has just been talked about in a video by Lincoln Video about the comparison between these engines, they're actually not that strong. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've got Percy here with 2 mail trucks and a brakeman, and let's just send him on a run on the track. Here we go. Moment of truth. You can see already one of the trucks has literally derailed, and it's still derailed. Oh, it's back on the track. Oh, now Percy is derailed. Try that again. So I put Percy back on the track, and let's see if he is going to run properly. He's running a bit slow. I think the batteries in him are a little bit flat. But remember, this was going to be the faster and stronger redesign of the Trackmaster cores. And again, you can see one of his mail wagons has come off the track, which is so fun. He'll run around this little loop. That's not a problem because it's just a loop. Underneath the little wobble track. Now, let's see what he does in reverse and see if all the wheels stay on the track. He's going very slowly again. I need to replace those batteries, but we're not here to do a speed test. So he kind of makes it up. But again, the batteries aren't that flat. I haven't been using them for that long. And there we go. This is the classic. This is exactly the thing I wanted to talk about. So he's just come right off the track. Totally off the track. Thanks, Percy. Yep, your job's here is done. And this goes to one of the, I think, the fundamental problems with the Trackmaster system is they went away from doing the crazy loops, but they still have hills. And particularly what I've noticed in my little experiments is that they do hills on curves, which are particularly problematic. And it means that if you have a train that's anything more than 2 or 3 rolling stock pieces, essentially anything more that's in one of their little 3-packs, you get things like that where they derail. Now, if I take off the brakeman, it's fine, but I should be able to run more than 2 pieces of rolling stock behind an engine. And so one thing I found about the way that the Trackmaster system is set up is it's still not designed for trains that are of any kind of reasonable length. And obviously some of those trick sets were designed very clearly for like Thomas and one truck or an engine and tender. But these sets are meant to be more normal quote unquote train sets, and they still have this problem. And let me demonstrate now by coming to James. So we've got James here, and he has got his tender, and he's got 4 troublesome trucks, and then also he has a brakeman, which I don't think is that crazy. And as I've talked about, this set itself is quite vanilla, and it doesn't have a lot of hills. And let's just see what he can do. Okay, yeah, well, one of the trucks is already derailed, which is good. Let's try again. So again, this is quite an ordinary set. It's only got a couple of small little hills on it, as you probably remember from my reviews. And you can see he's really not having that great of a time with that train. But if I was a kid, and even as not a kid anymore, that is not an unreasonable train. I mean, think about the episodes that, particularly actually in the CGI era, the later CGI era, the trains that were pulling were huge. It's kind of funny that in the original seasons, particularly season 1, they actually had quite short trains, and I suspect that was because they didn't have a lot of trucks that they built as props. But in the later CGI seasons, they're often pulling really long trains, and yet, you know, you can see here, James is, you know, again, not a super sprightly engine, pulling what I think is quite a reasonable length train for a kid to want to be able to couple up. And you can see even on these small hills, sometimes the trucks are kind of jumping around. And that kind of leads me to the third point that I want to talk about, which is that I have found, and I don't know if anyone else has also found this, that just the way yeah, you can see his tenders are lifting off the track. Oh, here we go. Wow, the universe is karmically aligned today. Just in normal playtime, Trackmaster engines seem to just derail for fun, like all the time. Like, you just saw that on video. I didn't do anything, he was running perfectly normally, and then all of a sudden he has derailed. And look, I love a little bit of chaos. You know, as a kid, one of my favorite things to do was to get a big line of trucks, see earlier point, and then run them down a hill and have a crash, because the crashes were the best part of the show, and therefore the best part of playtime. But I should be able to have a crash when I want to have a crash. I don't understand why this little random piece of track here, which is literally just the curve, is causing James to derail. So I don't know what that's about. And again, it's quite frustrating because you want to just be able to play with your trains, and they keep derailing for kind of no reason, and it's very random. So again, not sure what the situation is there with the Trackmaster situation. So there's an example of exactly what I'm talking about. And then if we come back over here, you will remember in my review I was having lots of problems with derailments in that little tunnel. Some people have said that they've also had that problem, so it appears like it wasn't just me. But let's get the Thomas from that set with Annie and Clarabelle. Oh, whoops. Up. He literally just did it. Like, you all saw that again in real time. And now he's like, what is happening? Why do you go? Now, I suspect I might have set these points wrong, so we could be in for a big smash here. Here we are. Whoops. Okay, I fixed up the points. And let's see if we can get Thomas to do a loop with the akin clarabelle. This is the Thomas from this set that has the kind of almost cross eyes. And I think again, nope. So I'm just going to leave Thomas here to finish this little intro part of the video. Again, a derailment. Why? Why is it doing that? And the crazy part about this set in particular, is you can't just go, oh, run the train the other direction. No, because it has those stupid points that I ranted on in my video that mine was actually faulty and I had to like kind of cut up and they don't work properly. So yeah, I just have noticed that I haven't seen a lot of this kind of content online. I mean, as I said, I don't watch a lot of reviews of the Trackmaster engines, I will admit, or particularly I haven't until recently with the new 80th anniversary stuff. But yeah, I'm people are really excited and hoping this line continues. I kind of think it would be great if we got some more classic characters, but I really just think that the whole thing needs a reset because this whole track system is just it's no good. The track system is no good. The engines are compromised. They're not strong. They're not very fast, and it just makes me really wonder, like, what is the point of this? You can really get a sense that. And this has been a common theme through the 80th anniversary stuff, is that it's kind of like half of a thought has been given to how this is all going to work. But this set is huge. I should be able to run Percy with 2 mail cars. I mean, in the show, again, he sometimes has like 4 or 5. But he even can't do that because he will just start derailing everywhere. So let me know your comments down below in relation to your issues that you have had with the Trackmaster setup. Meantime, I'm going to try and modify these so maybe they can actually run, and we'll do a little running session now that we have all of the engines from this line together. All right. Thanks very much for this video. Look forward to your comments down below. Otherwise, enjoy, because that's what we've got time for. This is Extreme Trains.